Welcome to the Lone Chemist Podcast.
Let's go.
All right, everybody. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Lone Chemist Podcast. My name is Johnny. I'm the Lone Chemist. I believe this is episode 9, if I'm not mistaken. Math is not my strong suit, so please forgive me. But I got a really special guest here. I'm really excited. I have Alex, who is the poster child of HiTop Films, the YouTube channel.
That's a good way to put it. The poster child of HiTop Films.
Well, the mastermind sounded kind of derivative, so I wanted to, give you the credit you deserve for being the face and the voice of the channel. I mean, you have a lot of other content that's really cool. So
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So Alex here is a YouTuber. He has a channel with, I think, 25,000 subs. I'm not
I
mistaken.
think we're close. We're like 24,300 right now.
Nice,
But-
man.
Yeah, 25. You can round up, so I seem more important than I am.
Yeah, we'll round up and maybe you can share some of the wealth my way. Who knows? But
Yeah.
But yeah, so really pumped you're here. I've been an admirer for some time. I saw your Robin short film was fantastic.
You watched the Robin film?
I
Man.
did.
That
I
changes
did.
Everything.
The Bird and the Brain, man.
You're a true fan in that case, because we have all these phonies that are like, "Oh, I like your video essay." So I'm like, "But did you watch the Robin film?"
Yeah, so I came upon your work. I think it was the Spider-Man 3 fixing the dance scene. I think that was the video that kind of drew me to it because, like you, I'm kind of a Spider-Man fanboy, so I saw that and click, like, subscribe, and
right.
then I came
Favorite
across some of your
Spider-Man.
So then I came across some of your student film, not student, but your fan films, and then I came across some of your other video essays, and really impressed, man. You do some good work, so I wanted to definitely have you on here.
Thank you. So favorite Spider-Man, your favorite Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
You can lead the whole conversation today, but I need to know.
Spider-Man 2.
I mean, your favorite actor. Of course it's Spider-Man 2. I wouldn't be on this show if I didn't assume that it was Spider-Man 2.
Well, I mean, I think Tobey Maguire, I think, is probably the best one, but
Toby and Tom.
Yeah. So I think that in terms of a Peter Parker, I think that we probably get a better Peter Parker with Tobey Maguire. But in terms of the candor of Spider-Man, like quippy and being kind of nonchalant, I think Tom Holland takes it. I mean, Andrew Garfield is like cancer.
He tried, man. I feel so bad for him. I feel so bad for Andrew Garfield. He's such a quality actor.
Exactly. I mean, he's been some great stuff, and he's like a super fan of Spider-Man. So it's really sad that it kind of fell short, but it's all right. He's been in some other good movies since then, so that's fine. But yeah, man, so I'd love for you to just kind of go into how you got started into just, I guess, film production in general or acting or filmography. I'd love to just kind of hear about that.
Okay, cool. I'm going to talk for a little bit. Cut me off if I'm
No,
going too
dude,
long.
we got all the time in the world, man. Go ahead.
All right, cool, man. I was always interested in movies ever since like Spider-Man 2 in the theater when I was a little kid. I can't do math in my head right now, but I think I was like 6 or 7 when it came out.
Yeah.
Maybe younger.
How old are you? You're now you're
I'm 19. I'm 19.
Oh shit, I'm 25, so I feel really old now.
I'm a youngling, man. You're the sensei right now. You can lead the conversation. Yeah, I just have a vivid memory of seeing that movie in the theater, even though I was so young. And then from then on, I was like, how does this work? So I would binge watch like the BTS of like all the Raimi movies, just day after day, as soon as my parents got a DVD player. So eventually I just realized that, I want to make movies. So when I was, I think like 10th grade in high school, there was a film club. And at that film club, we learned to shoot stuff and we learned just like the basic fundamentals of filmmaking. And at the end of that film club, they offered me a job at the company Steeltown. I'm from Pittsburgh. It's like the Pittsburgh Film Company.
Oh, word, nice.
So that was super cool. And then I worked there where we created like this really, really shitty reality show that was like this local network show that aired on like Fox 53, not real Fox, but like Fox 53.
Okay.
So I did that for a few years, but then like my passion projects were the first video that was ever on HiTop Films was a Spider-Man fan film.
Oh, word.
It's not on there anymore because it was terrible. It's like all the crappy ones you see on the internet now. But I was in 10th grade and 11th grade, so I didn't feel too bad about it. But that was the first thing I did on the channel. And then I think I just kept making shorts. If you scroll through the channel, like the deep dives of the channel, you can find all these shorts, these horror shorts that me and my buddy John Graves, he's like the man behind the scenes.
Yeah, word.
Yeah, but me and my buddy John Graves like pretty much direct everything together. And then senior year came around and I was like, you know what? I want to make like I want to do another fan film because I just love Batman. I was so angry about Batman v Superman. And like
we'll get to that, trust me.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But the direction they were going with those live action movies, I was like, okay, I want to do something on my own. I just want to do it on my own. So I can stop complaining about it and just do it. So then that's like I conceived Robin, and I'm not sure what the order is. I think it's the Robin trailer came out first on the HiTop channel.
Okay.
And then I was like, you know what? I want to do a video essay on the chocolate cake in Spider-Man 2 because not that many people talk about that scene. There's like 40 Spider-Man 2 video essays,
dude,
but I was like,
yes, honestly, like that is one of the most subtle aspects of Spider-Man 2 that no one ever talks about because it's such a side and a break from the actual chaotic parts of the story where that actually locks you into the theme of the story, which it honestly always surprised me because when I saw it, I'm like, you know, this is something that I've thought since I was a kid. Why hasn't anybody ever like explored the fact that this is like a pivotal plot moment? So like, I was really happy you brought that up.
It's like the turning point of the movie.
Exactly.
It's about chocolate cake. It's crazy. So then I made that, and I don't know if I was just feeling like doubtful, but I didn't want to use my own voice, which I do now. So I got my girlfriend, who's still my girlfriend. She did the voiceover. And then I was like, you know what? People started to watch that. I think it had 300 views for the longest time. And then one day I woke up and it was at like 20K.
Whoa, man. Nice. Good stuff.
Yeah, which was crazy. And then, I just kept rolling with the video essays. And then we made Robin, and that was a horrible experience to make, but we learned a lot from it. And I'm mostly happy with the final product. And so, now I'm just working on the video essay grind. I'm trying to incorporate short films into the video essays to keep them more than just like some white guy talking about movies. With a microphone, I tried to make it a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I have a couple of video essays I'm working on right now. I have one for Thanos as like why Thanos is like the perfect villain, basically like the way that he's written. I have one for like Get Out and all that kind of stuff. I have a bunch of different like things. That's kind of my problem. I'm just a new YouTuber now, so like my problem is focusing on a project and just finishing it because I have so many different ideas. But so what you said is like really impactful because a video essay is one thing. It's one thing to have a pretentious asshole telling you facts and opinions, like, nonstop for like 8 to 12 minutes. But I mean, it's really interesting that you're actually incorporating filmmaking. And actually, one of the video essays you did on Teen Titans Go, like with that one was fucking hilarious, man. I was in the lab and I heard that come on my shuffle play and I had to watch it. It was like really funny.
Yes, man, that's so awesome. Did it make you actually laugh out loud?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Because that video that got like a mixed review because it's very different from everything on the channel. It's way more personal.
Yeah, and also like it's just like you didn't hold anything back. Like you went for like the actual like facts and stuff, but you also brought some humor and like some actual personal touches into it, which is really cool. And obviously it was really funny for sure because I have some mixed feelings about Teen Titans Go as a show, but like I really appreciated your insight and I definitely made me laugh for sure.
Okay, good. I'm glad, man. What was I gonna say about that video? Yeah, I wish I could make more like that. Like I wish. If we're getting YouTube honesty here, like sometimes you have to make stuff like I enjoy everything I make, but sometimes you have to like lean stuff in a certain direction to get views, to get comments.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'd want to make every video like Teen Titans Go, like every video that personal, that much of a short film.
Yeah.
But I know that like there's not that big an audience for that I can reach right now. So it's a matter of like the patience game.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so how long have you been on YouTube? So is HiTop Films a product of YouTube, or did you start HiTop Films separately and then you basically brought it into YouTube?
Oh, I think I was trying to think of a channel name for YouTube. I think it was YouTube to begin with. And then it was HiTop Films. And then I was like, why don't we get all my friends? And that's like our official production company name is HiTop Films. So like I have like this business card that I never really use that says like Alex Hunter, HiTop Films, but it sounds cool. So that's fake it till you make it, man. That's
yeah, man. Steal my phrase, man. Fake it till you make it. It's what you got to do. And so, are you in college now, or are you?
No, I actually just didn't go to college. Believe it or not, I'm a bum.
You're one of the lucky ones, man. I got my PhD right now, and school
awesome,
sucks.
That's
Awesome's
great.
A strong word.
Well, from my thing was I'm such like a stubborn, spoiled brat and asshole that I worked at this film company where we made this TV show and where we were on sets.
Yeah.
And I had everyone at that film company who graduated, like a lot of people graduated film school who worked there.
Yeah.
and they just didn't speak highly of it. They were like, "Oh, well, you're doing what you do in film school right now. Like you're learning all the like cinematography, lighting, all that shit, gaffing, all that good stuff." So then I was like, you know what? I just want to take a few years or however long it takes. I want to try to build an image for myself. And also, I just don't have a lot of money to begin with to afford college. I don't want to be in debt.
No, for sure.
So I just kind of want to build this brand, build this image, and then decide to go to college, whether it be film school or maybe like, you know, I'll just shoot my own movie. Maybe I'll shoot an indie movie and I'll skip the film school phase. But I'd rather go when I have like my own money and when I have developed myself as an entity, then I want to go just to learn for like the learning element, not necessarily like I'm going just to get a degree to get a job kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of education, I mean, at least I'm in science, so like a lot of school is obviously you need to learn things, but also it's a lot of the credential racing, if you know what I mean, where it's like you just want to add something to your resume or you want to just add this checkbox. And I really admire the fact that like you know what craft you want to be in. You also want to establish yourself in a field with a decent portfolio before you do anything else, which I think is really admirable for sure.
Thanks, man.
No problem, man. You know,
it's scary though. It's scary because like
I can imagine, man.
Yeah, because like most of my friends, they're off at college, and I'm here like grinding right now, and then just like saving, and then my dream is to move to California whenever I can. My buddy, who also didn't go to college, who played Robin in the movie, Francesco, he's in LA right now. He worked all year. He made Robin. He worked all year. He saved up, and then he just got like a small shitty apartment in California, but he's trying.
Yeah, man. Well, I will say one thing is going for him. He has some great hair. I got to say, like the hair really drew me into that video.
Robin hair. I thought you said my hair, and I was like, oh.
Well, your hair is beautiful, but like you know, in the video, like I remember like that first shot, like the Christmas Eve thing when he's walking. I'm like, that guy's some sick flow, man.
Oh yeah, he takes very good care of his hair. I'll tell him you said that.
Of course, yeah. No, I got to have a subtle admirer from afar.
Yeah, cool, man. That's awesome.
All right, so I think we should get to the topic, man. I'm pretty excited about it. So
yeah, me too.
I think that if you ask anybody in the world who is the most influential superhero or who is the most formative in the scape of superhero and just superhero cinema, it will probably be Batman. I think Batman is probably one of the most important, not just superheroes, but one of the most important characters ever written. And I think that it's interesting because Batman has so many different reimaginings and different origins, so to speak. But the thing that I really like about the character that's been kind of consistent throughout his inception from, you know, this first time in 1939 being Detective Comics 27 versus the abysmal Zack Snyder movies is moral ambiguity. I think moral ambiguity is probably one of his most dominant character traits. And I don't think it was really realized until... you know, in 1939, when he was incepted into Detective Comics, they had him as just kind of a run-of-the-mill detective and not really this kind of like morally ambiguous guy. But after World War II, when they wanted to have characters, you know, portray American values, they had him, you know, reimagined with his parents being killed, and they made him kind of a centerpiece of folklore that's very ambiguous, and seeing him kind of toe the line between being a vigilante and being a hero was enthralling. And
it's great. It's always great.
Yeah. And I just think that Batman, regardless of subjective opinion and different interpretations, I feel like the character is timeless. And I feel like it's probably one of the most important that's been in cinema and books and literary and all that kind of stuff.
But he's not doing too good in cinema right now.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. So I'm very, very skeptical about Batman's future in this recent escapade of DC Cinematic Universe movies. So I wanted to bring you on here today because you're obviously a superhero fanboy like me. I'd love to I guess analyze the problem that we see with the current manifestation of Batman, what we would maybe recommend on what they would do to kind of go forward and make it a better character, and is there any hope, I guess, is the kind of thesis of this conversation.
Okay, great. This is going to be so much fun. This is going to be awesome, man. Because I'm writing a Batman script right now.
I saw your and also saw your Twitter. You had a video essay you're working on with some of the Joker Killing Joke. Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff, I'm doing a video essay on why Tim Burton's Batman is not a good rendition of that character. Yeah,
I always thought that. I mean, it's a very good movie, but I always
it's a good movie.
I always thought, so I always thought that Tim Burton's style, while it lended itself well to the perception of Gotham and the kind of like almost macabre aspect that you would see from like almost like a haunted house aspect, if you know what I mean. I don't think that Batman truly fits in well to that universe, and I feel like he's kind of an outsider when you look at that film from a third party perspective.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. The point of my video is that like Burton makes no effort to get the audience invested in the character of Batman. Like the movie looks great, like all the production design's gorgeous, and it inspired like the animated series, which is probably the best rendition of that character.
Well, and one of the best animated series, period.
Period.
It's fantastic.
Exactly. Like the best Batman, probably, in the like definitely one of the best animated shows. So that movie's like super influential and made people take Batman seriously. So I'm always thankful for it, and it's fun. Like it's a good movie to watch. It's fun. But like Batman murders people in that movie.
Yeah.
He has like zero motivation for anything. The whole movie kind of just like fumbles around the Joker. Jack Nicholson's like the show. It's even worse than Batman Returns.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And like we said, while they're quality films and Tim Burton's obviously a really reputable director, I don't think he lended himself very well to, I guess, putting forth the moral ambiguity and the character flaws and also the character successions of Batman in that movie for sure. So I guess looking at the character's biography, I mean, obviously everyone knows that Batman was kind of born from Bruce Wayne's trauma of witnessing his parents being killed. It's interesting because, I mean, before World War II ended, Batman was kind of written as just a regular old detective that would like, beat the shit out of people and perhaps kill them to get a lead on something. But after World War II, they reimagined him as a really tragic and flawed hero. And that's kind of where the whole, I have one rule, I won't kill anybody kind of came to the forefront. Yeah.
Which no filmmaker seems to understand besides like Chris Nolan.
Exactly. So what do you think is the true... I guess what is the true governing factor in Batman's psychology and mythology that you see is basically why the character is so influential in pop culture?
I just think he turns. First of all, of course, there's the obvious one where he's a man. He's not like Superman.
Yeah.
He doesn't have power, so he's a man. So everyone can aspire to reach like the physical peak of Batman or the mental peak. He's the smartest person. He's the strongest man.
Yeah,
he's everything. But I think what's most important is the fact that he has a set of morals. The fact that he does not kill people. He will break their bones, he will beat them, but he will not kill people.
Yeah.
So he's righteous, he views himself as good, and he turns all the darkness and pain that like once, Bill Finger wrote The Origin of Batman, like
exactly.
the actual his parents died. But he turns all that pain into hope, into like, even though he scares criminals, but like people, Gothamites and just average people can be like, oh, well, I've suffered a great trauma. Like I maybe didn't grow up well. Like I had a rough life. But now, like if Bruce Wayne can turn his shit around, so can I. And I feel like that's what resonates with people. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's like I said before. I mean, for one, the moral ambiguity where he obviously is a good person, doesn't kill people, but seeing him toe that line and seeing him being pushed to either more vigilante-esque or hero-esque by villains and get him so close to killing somebody or in the other direction is enthralling, and it's really fascinating. It's a beautiful look at human psychology, but
it's great because like is he heroic for not killing the Joker if the Joker is going to kill way more people? Like,
exactly.
There's always that question.
Moral ambiguity, man. It's crazy.
To tie it into like what we're talking about, Batman in the movies, immediately when you watch Batman v Superman and Ben Affleck, who looks great as Batman.
Yeah.
You would think, you look at the trailers, you're like, damn, that's like, he finally has the gray costume. He looks great. Aesthetically, it's wonderful. And then you watch it and he's shooting, not just like blowing up a car someone's in, but using like these turrets on the Batmobile, these 50 caliber machine guns, and blowing people away out of the back of cars and just killing everyone. And then right there I'm watching that in the theater back like whenever that came out. And I'm sitting there with my mouth open like, okay, this is supposed to be an extended universe. This is supposed to like make Warner Brothers money for years and years and years. But now you can never tell stories like Under the Red Hood. You can never have that conflict.
And the only way they could do that is like retconning it in, like having like Batman v Superman like take place after all the events that maybe have made him a broken man. And that kind of brings my biggest criticism with those movies is that it's okay to have Batman do those things, but you have to motivate and you have to earn it. You can't just have him exactly. You can't have him just do that. You can't have him have a warlord's treasure trove of different turrets and missiles and trackers and stuff. If they honestly if we're gonna get into really specifics here, if they had a conversation with Alfred, that's how it starts, turns old men cruel or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, like a little like it means nothing, but it sounds good conversation.
Exactly. So if they expanded that to, obviously Jason Todd is dead in that universe.
It's not Jason, man.
Well, okay, but like the manifestation of Robin is dead. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach said it was Dick, and that like killed me even more in the inside. My nerd was just like, "Come on, dude, you were gonna kill off like Dick Grayson? Why?"
Yeah. But okay, but you know what I mean? Where it's like if they had a conversation where it was like they killed Robin, like, there's no rules anymore, and like he's a seasoned vet of a Batman, so to speak. He's supposed to be like in his like late 40s, early 50s, so that would make some sense if he turned into a guerrilla war fighter after all of those terrible things have happened to him. Yeah. But they don't explain that. They just have him be a complete psychopath with turrets and miniguns. Exactly. Yeah. So if they had earned that, I would not have been so pissed off about it.
Yeah, it's a deconstruction without constructing at all.
Exactly.
And that's that's my big issue with all those movies is, okay, Man of Steel is a deconstruction of Superman. I understand that. Like, I understand what you're doing. Yeah. But also, like, the general audience hasn't seen Superman be Superman in a while. Like, Superman Returns before Man of Steel, which is like everyone just is like, oh, it's boring. And now, like, this entire DC franchise, besides Wonder Woman, like, both Batman and Superman are the most unlikable people in those movies.
Yes, dude.
Which is crazy. It's fucking crazy because what world do we live in where Ant-Man makes more money than, like, Justice League? I don't know.
It's a really weird kind of paradigm they have because, I mean, obviously, Batman is like the bigger character and Batman is more character draw. But when you have a character that is such a bastardization of what's come before it, I mean, you can have differing interpretations of the character, but when you basically give a middle finger to the entire mythology of the character, that's when I get really like pissed off.
Yeah, me too, man. And like, dude, what The Dark Knight Rises came out how many years before BVS? Like, what, 4
years,
5?
Yeah, 2012. Yeah.
Yeah. So but like the general audience, that's their biggest exposure to Batman is probably the Nolan movies because those were like everyone saw those,
Yeah.
Recent audiences, I mean. But in those movies, it's all about how he doesn't kill people. It's all about that line, that moral ambiguity. Like The Dark Knight Rises, he literally hops down and he's like, no guns, no killing to Catwoman.
Yeah.
Like the plot of The Dark Knight is maybe he should stop the Joker, maybe he should reveal himself, but he can't do it.
Yeah.
And then people die because of it. But then, like, the producers and the writers and everyone involved, I'm not going to just throw shade at Zach like I usually do, but everyone involved that they let this go by, it just alienates the audience because they're like, oh, I thought Batman didn't kill people.
Exactly, man.
And it's not like, oh, maybe he's killing people. Like in the Burton movies, it's like, oh, he just threw that guy down the church.
Yeah, maybe he made it. Yeah.
Yeah. But in this one, it's like he goes out of his way to show that he's gunning these people down. Like it's part of his movie.
Yeah, like that scene with the Batwing, like when he's getting that kryptonite spear, he literally unloads like 2 miniguns into like 6 people that are standing by that dock and just like blew them up.
Just hired goons too. They're not like, it's not like they're that bad of people. He can't kill the Joker. And then I see Suicide Squad. It's ruined because I'm like, oh, why isn't the Joker dead if he's killing criminals? And it's just a mess, man. And like my big thing is the fact that it's so nonchalant in the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just like commonplace. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're just going to, this got past the thousands and thousands of people that work on the movie and no one was like, why is Batman killing people? And even if it's like because he's war-torn and he's tired and he's old and he's
You have to explain that thing. You can't just do that.
You can't just like have him show up. And then, but my big thing is I just watched this great video. I forget. It was like, I don't even know what channel it was, smaller channel. And it was like Zack Snyder v. Batman v. Superman. And it's this interview with him. It's hilarious, man. It's this interview with him where he's like, yeah, he kills in The Dark Knight Returns all the time.
Yeah, but they have stories upon stories upon stories before that explaining it, and then he's a seasoned old Batman.
But in that book, he still doesn't. I don't like. You can argue that he like maybe killed the Joker because he like slightly snaps his neck and then Joker finishes himself off.
Yeah,
but he never like. He literally takes the gun in the book, and I just watched the animated movie too. I was watching Batman movies to prepare for this, and he takes a gun and he breaks it. And he's like, "These are the weapons of cowards." So I'm like, okay, if your excuse is you're adapting that source material, which is like fine if you're adapting something where Batman's a killer, but even in that book, he's against guns and he doesn't kill as much as he does in your movie or at all.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy, man.
That speaks to a different kind of problem too, because, if we're going to talk about that kind of stuff with Batman, I feel like it's really strange to think that Zack Snyder is somehow a comic book fan, because yes, he took inspiration from a lot of different, Frank Miller Batmans, for example, for the movie.
Visually.
Yeah, visually. And then you can argue some character things and some, like, iconic scenes are put in the movie from those things. Like, obviously the armored suit Batman is right out of the comic book. But the thing that I have a problem with is, if you're going to take inspiration from those things and then cite inspiration from those things, you can't just pick and choose. Like, he can't just pick, okay, I'm going to have a moment from this and a character motivation from that, and then I'm going to have him fight in this way. That's just like, it's like you have to actually have a poignant way of paying homage to something. You can't just, and the Nerd Writer did a great video on this, where like he's obsessed with just a moment or a second of a film and making it iconic. And because of that, like, he doesn't really have an incentive to build up characters. He doesn't have an incentive to explain why people are doing things. All he has to do is pull the cool things out of every story that he wants to pay homage to, and then put them all together. And that's why it seems like word
the comic
salad.
book fans will just, like, can I be crude?
Go ahead. Yeah. Dude.
Okay. Yeah. He thinks the comic book fans will just, like, come in their pants and then, like, worship him after that. But my big thing, dude, the thing that ruins everything for me is the fact that I didn't recognize that character at all. I walked in, I'm like such a hardcore Batman fan. I watched that movie, and it starts off so great. Like, you have the dated cars, you have the Wayne murder, and super cool looking. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, this is like probably the best rendition visually of the pearls and such. Yeah. Right. But then, like, I don't know, 20 minutes later, I just don't recognize this guy.
Well, when Batman started flying with the bats, that's when I kind of lost all faith in the movie, which is about 8 minutes in, and I was pretty upset with that. But that was cringy.
Also, I had a big thing when Thomas Wayne like goes to punch the guy. I don't think that works on film. He goes to punch Joe Chill. If you watch that movie, that montage, he like makes a fist and goes to punch him, and I'm like, okay, but then the way it's like framed, the mugger shot first, which I think fundamentally changes the psyche of Batman. If the whole point is if his dad was going to punch the mugger and the mugger shot him in self-defense. There's a few people on the internet who think that too, but
I'm sure that there've been a lot of live spirited debates on Reddit and 4chan about those things.
Dude, I have this one guy on every video that I like make a crack at the DCEU. He comments like 40 different times, and he's like, "You just don't understand the vision, man. You just don't understand the vision." You're gonna get these comments now that we're talking about this. Watch.
Good,
I'm
man.
Not kidding.
Good. Fuck it. I'll debate those motherfuckers any chance I get for comic book lore. Because dude, it's not like I'm just a casual fan. Like, I saw them. I saw the Nolan movies. I saw a couple of the Burton ones. Whatever. I've been a comic book fan since I was like fucking like 10 or 11. I've been so invested in both Marvel and DC, and I would say that I think Marvel wrote better comics as a whole, but Batman as a character is transcendent.
I think Batman's better. I love like Marvel, and I love the Marvel movie, some of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But like Batman as a character is just so fleshed out and so developed,
and he's fascinating.
It's every superhero. And then there's Batman.
Oh, for sure. Like we start the conversation with, it's like he's probably one of the most iconic characters, not just in superhero films, but just period, like in just pop culture.
Right now, he may like just be the most iconic character. I'm really thinking like,
yeah, and it's so sad that they're treating him, with such disrespect. They disrespected Batman.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like crying about it in the corner.
I know. So. All right, so let's operate in two levels here. Let's look at the current DCEU. Let's cast aside the fact that Ben Affleck is probably going to quit the universe in the next 6 months.
He's done.
Yeah, he's definitely okay. But let's operate under the assumption that like what they have going is going to stay in a constant state of flux. So, what do you think they could do in order to either motivate Batman's character further or to transition them out of the picture?
Man, I think that are we running with if like they're still going with
the current cast and current plans right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like all those movies are canon. I can't just erase those movies.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
No, I would scrap it to begin with. Like fuck that. But let's operate on the assumption that this is like what the universe is for right now.
Oh man, what would I do? I think that you would have to not tiptoe around the fact that he was murdering people in Batman v Superman. I think that you either need to have a movie take place beforehand if Ben's doing it.
Yeah.
Or just like do a movie. Here's just off the top of my head. Do a buddy cop movie, okay? not like super lightly toned, but just like a duo movie with Batman and Nightwing.
Okay.
Okay, introduce Dick Grayson, and then have Dick Grayson be like the character that Bruce can explain himself to, which is the audience.
The
like,
expositional thing, got it.
But but you'd have to make it like natural and flow. Just like address the fact that he killed people. Address the fact that Nightwing hasn't maybe been talking to him because he went off the deep end.
Yeah, sure.
You know, just address all that stuff. And I just think that Batman honestly can't be saved, the Ben Affleck Batman. He's too, after you see him gun people down and no one's really too fond of him. And then he's like a goofball in Justice League, but at least he wasn't murdering people. I just think maybe transition into a Dick Grayson Batman.
Yeah, so I had kind of a different idea to segue him out, but I do really like that one because, I mean, Dick Grayson is like an iconic character in and of himself. So to have him take up the mantle would be kind of a, the Padawan becomes the Jedi, I guess, for like the, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but that's the one I can come off the top of my head with.
But I was comic book fan. I feel like I never met anyone who's a huge Star Wars fan and a comic book fan.
For sure. Like it's superheroes or Jedis. Like you can't pick both.
Yeah.
But what I would do is, I think that if we're going to stay in this genre, what I would do is I would bring in the Batman Beyond version. Like I would bring in
Terry.
So what I would do is I would bring in Terry, and then I would have, Bruce Wayne do the whole like prosthetic CGI, make him look older and stuff, and have him be the older Batman. And then a couple movies after that, I would incorporate Flashpoint, which basically like brings time travel into everything, and then have the Batman Beyond version come back into the present day, like Justice League, where you segue out the older Bruce, because technically, from the rules of time travel, he shouldn't have existed in there to begin with in the Justice League if he's this old guy in like a separate universe. So, I mean, that's the way that I would do it. But the problem with that is, you sacrifice continuity for the sake of just explaining away the story and pleasing the fans because they're not happy with Ben Affleck. And I don't like that because, I have a problem with just recasting as a general rule, let alone altering timelines and trying to just segue a character out of existence, which is just kind of frustrating. Yeah.
They're in a pickle because everyone loves, the only person they have to like really keep around is Gal Gadot.
Exactly.
Because like people love Wonder Woman, and if they just brought in a whole new Justice League cast, it would be weird. So they're in such a pickle. They can't. Yeah. They can't have like a new person show up as Batman and then not explain it, or they could.
Yeah, exactly. So we've talked about basically the flaws of the Batman right now, what we would do. I mean, we can ask the question kind of like preemptively. Do you think there's any shot of Batman being saved in this universe with the Ben Affleck interpretation of the character?
With the Ben, not Matt Reeves. We're not talking Matt Reeves Batman.
Yeah, no, just like as it is right now. Okay. Like, do you see any hope for this character?
No. As soon as he pulled the trigger, and because I knew then that unless it was explained in that movie, the only thing they can do is ignore it, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Or try to retcon it later on, or explain it later on. And either way, like, you lose audience investment because they're like, oh, really? That's why he was doing that 2 movies ago, like 2 critically panned movies ago.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because this brings in like one of the problems that I've talked about in some of my other podcasts. Basically, the problem that I've seen with the DCEU is not just the whole, moments over scenes or whatever. My problem with them just generally as a filmmaking entity is, so they started with Man of Steel and they made many, many, many errors with it. So what they did was, instead of focusing on making Batman v Superman the best movie it could possibly be, they tried to take all the criticism they got from Man of Steel and jujitsu it into plot points that could work for the next movie. Then, when Suicide Squad was coming out, they said, okay, we had a movie that was trashed by critics, that it didn't make a lot of sense. It was not a good story, and it was too negative. So what are we going to do? We're going to make a completely derivative story with characters never heard of before. We're going to try and make it fun, and
we're going to try and do Guardians of the Galaxy and fail.
Exactly. And so I feel like that's a recurring theme with all of these movies, that they almost forget to be good movies by themselves. They're trying to capitalize on the cinematic universe model, and because of that, they've just been slaves of the fact that we have to address all of the negatives of every movie that's come before it, instead of just making a good singular movie, which is such a problem with the whole cinematic universe model. They're trying to copy from Marvel, obviously, but You know, until they correct
just,
that, it's just not going to work.
That's why I'm saying I think they just the only thing. Also, we have to talk about the Joker because with Ben's Batman, we have Jared Leto's Joker, which there's no fixing that either. There's no fixing. See, that's what I think. I think the one thing we're gonna get, Matt Reeves is gonna come in. He's gonna do his own thing. It's gonna be self-contained. Okay.
Yeah.
The one movie it may connect to, maybe, is the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, just because you have like Joaquin Phoenix, Martin Scorsese producing a really good cast in that, but that's supposed to be self-contained. But like, no one's gonna want whoever plays the younger Matt Reeves Batman to be with Jared Leto's Joker.
Exactly.
So it's a mess. They dug themselves so deep in a hole that there's almost no way out other than to abandon ship and restart Batman. Find a way to redo him.
I think restart the entire cinematic universe, to be honest. I mean, like, I know they want to keep Gal Gadot, but like at this point, the plot is so convoluted. It's like, do you ever play the Kingdom Hearts video games by any chance?
No, my friends do though.
Okay.
My friends love them.
I'm guilty pleasure. Biggest guilty pleasure of all time is those games.
Yeah.
Those games, every single game has introduced more convoluted shit into the story where the only way they're going to fix it is time travel. They're in the same situation with the DCEU where the only way they're going to explain all this shit is to either scrap it or time travel or something completely, you know, like some kind of Deus Ex Machina thing, which is just really annoying.
God Days of Future Past came out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because now like an audience, like the general audience, because like you and I can go to the theater and be like, oh, Flashpoint, that makes sense, you know, because we're nerds. But like the average moviegoer can be like, wait, what? I thought Ben Affleck was Batman.
Yeah.
But now that Days of Future Past came out, I think, and there's been like a lot of time travel stuff. Not Inception. I'm sorry, Interstellar.
Exactly.
Like the time travel's more. It's like in right now ish. So I feel like it's more acceptable to do that, and people would buy it.
Yeah, and plus with Infinity War on the horizons, which I mean, I think that interdimensional travel is going to be a huge thing in that movie for sure. Like,
so then DC can copy that and try to fix stuff.
They're slaves to Marvel, man, whether they like it or not. And I just hope they can actually like salvage something, but I don't have a lot of hope.
I think Cavill's done too, honestly. Because I think I just, no one likes that Superman either. That's a different conversation for another podcast, but no one likes that Superman. No one likes that Batman. People love that Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Jason
Momoa's Aquaman's like a surfer bro, but I mean, I think Aquaman would be good because James Wan. I made a video on that, but
not that's going to be good. It has to be good. Otherwise, the whole thing is fucked.
Yeah, it really is. And then Shazam's going to be great, but that's kind of its own thing. I think it's still in the DCEU. But yeah, I think that's going to be the direction they start going, is the Shazam. Like, maybe they'll finally get the memo that Marvel worked because they started off with like not popular characters and focused on making them likable characters.
Yeah. So I also think, like, as another segue, I think we should also talk about what kind of elements haven't been in a Batman film in recent memory that we can actually bring into some kind of future aspect of Batman. I think that one thing about Batman that hasn't been explored is the fact that he's, a genius level intellect is kind of like par for the course, but he's supposed to be this genius police detective, and I feel like no movie has really capitalized on that noir aspect. And so, and honestly, the thing that's actually been the best aspect of Detective Batman have been the Arkham Knight video games. Where,
of course, the Arkham games are phenomenal.
Yeah,
they're better than I mean, the Nolan movies are wonderful films, but the Arkham games are definitely, like, Arkham games and Mask of the Phantasm are the best Batman stories.
Without question.
Cinematic Batman stories, like, about Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Because The Dark Knight's phenomenal, but it's not really about Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, Batman Begins was all about Bruce Wayne. Dark Knight was all about, Batman, and then fucking Dark Knight Rises is all about Gotham, right? So, like, I guess the thematic, like, widening of the scope, so to speak.
I just want someone to go in the psyche of Batman. There's one movie, and I talk about this in my video. I'm going to get so much shit for this. You're going to lose subscribers, but the one movie...
Dude, hold on, I have 200. I just started on YouTube, man. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're going to lose all 200 of them after I say this. The one live-action Batman movie that I think really actually focuses on Bruce Wayne's psyche is Batman Forever, but it's a horrible movie. But it does, if you remember, it does attempt to be like, this guy's kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah,
this is like his repressed memories. That movie's horrible. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
but I'm just saying that like that movie made the attempt to bring the Bruce Wayne to the forefront.
I mean, one of the plot points was actually excavating his thoughts and trying to actually see what makes him tick. Which, I mean, terrible movie, and
done horribly.
Jim Carrey wearing a leotard where he put a sock in his pants was kind of
dude. That's such a guilty pleasure. Like if you asked me to put on any Batman movie right now, I'd probably put in Forever just to like laugh because it's a good time. Like it's just so like goofy and out there. And
like I just love how that trope of like the goons have to dress like the person that hired them is so apparent in the movie. Like the Riddler goons, the Two-Face goons, like they all
Two-Face goons have like the earrings on one ear and like it's hilarious, man. It's great.
And that continues to like Mr. Freeze and shit like in the latter films, yeah.
That's what I would do, man.
Yeah. But fucking like the detective part of Batman is such a rich part of the story that hasn't really been explored. Like the fact that he's a technological genius and he's basically like the best forensic scientist in the world.
Yeah.
Like he was made in Detective Comics. He's a policeman when it really comes down to it.
DC Comics, Detective. I feel like not that many people know that. Like,
exactly.
You say, DC. It's like Detective Comics.
Yeah.
But he's never been. I'm trying to think. Is there any Mask of the Phantasm animated series, Arkham games, where he's a detective? There's no. I don't think there's any live action version where he does really. I mean, like Bale did some detecting, so did Keaton, but it's not like what it should be. It's not like a big mystery. It's not like a big case he's solving.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's sad the fact that like they haven't capitalized on that and
at all.
Yeah,
and he says he's going to, so let's hope so.
Yeah, like it's gonna have to be some kind of neo noir, almost like the LA Noire games, where it's actually like an investigative.
I love that game.
Oh, it's so good, unbelievable. I feel like we could like talk for like 3 hours about just like nerdy shit, like back and forth. Shit, yeah. but if they don't capitalize on that, then I don't think that this attempt to humanize Batman is really going to be fruitful in any way. They have to add something new to his character because they've already fucked up so many other aspects of it. His moral ambiguity, his character flaws, his origin story, like the fact that he. And this is my one thing that I really fucking hated about it. I could forgive everything if Batman had been a smart character in Batman v Superman.
He's an idiot, yeah.
He makes every single fucking decision based on emotion. He uses a global risk calculus. You know what that is? Basically, it means that, so in philosophy, if there's, any chance of...
Oh, the 1% chance line. Like
yeah, exactly. So it's a thing in like symbolic logic and philosophy, or basically, if there's even like a 0.0001% chance of global annihilation, that thing is unacceptable and it has to be stopped.
Wasn't that quote lifted from Dick Cheney? Didn't Chris Terrio? I think he said that about like Al Qaeda.
It might have been.
The point.
But
yeah, for like the alien, that's the point. But then you're depicting Batman as an idiot and as the bad guy in the movie. Yeah,
and as a warmonger when it really comes down to it. So it's like, fuck, man, like you're shooting yourself in the foot. But like okay, I could understand that philosophically, but as Batman, like he's supposed to be, good above all and justice above all, not this one person has to die because I think he might be a threat. That is the most not Batman thought process in anything. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no. Like it's completely reasonable to me for him to be paranoid about Superman because he always is. But the fact that he's going to take this person's life because he's so sure.
Yeah, he's got a hunch. He got a little hunch.
Yeah. He has a dream. He has a little nightmare where it's Mad Max, and then he's like, I'm going to fucking kill you with a spear.
Oh, wait. All the dream sequences, though.
Dude, where he just murders, yeah, there you go. Let's introduce a new Batman that's supposed to stick around for years, and let's have him have a machine gun and shoot people because, and Superman has these Nazi goons, and he rips out Batman's heart because I'm fucking Zack Snyder, and fuck you. That's
You can't do it.
that's literally his office right there. There's no all these DC, like the DCEU fans, they're like, oh, you don't understand Zack's vision. No, I think that we all understand his vision.
We just think it sucks.
It's a really bad take.
Like Batman with a trench coat on, like with the fucking Mad Max goggle.
It's like, you know that Zack went to go see Mad Max, and he was like, I gotta put this in the movie, and then he called up Chris Terrio. He was like, write it in the script, man. We'll do it Injustice style. We'll set it up.
But he's like, oh, I think the movie's done. No, just put it in. We'll explain it later.
Just throw it in. We need an action scene because that movie's so fucking boring, and I'm all for like because apparently it's a big deconstruction and it's really philosophical. But I'm all for that if a good filmmaker did it. But that movie's criminally boring.
Yeah, and it's so pretentious too. Like,
oh my god, it aspires like, to be like the next Godfather, but it's
and like
he doesn't understand. It's a movie about a guy in a cape. Like, that's important to understand, and then you can get to the deeper themes.
Exactly. Like, you have to be self-aware before you can actually, supersede all the things in the movie. Like the whole thing about gods and like how Batman is like, you're not brave, men are brave. In another Batman story, that would be a great line and a great, climactic moment. But in that one, they don't earn it. They just have him say that, and it just sounds like an idiot.
Because it's literally like it's Chris Terrio and Zack Snyder like taking a shit of every pretentious thought they've ever had, that they think they're the only ones that have ever realized that about Batman. That's a big thing in writing in general. Like, I'm going to go on a rant one day on my channel about it. But clearly Chris Terrio's like, these superheroes, they're like modern day gods. They're like, Superman's like a modern day,
no
Moses,
shit.
Jesus. Yeah. And it's like, dude, everyone with like a little bit of like, who thinks about it knows that.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing. I just hope they can actually pull together a little bit. And I hope that I used to have like 70% hope and faith in the Matt Reeves movie. Now it's downgraded to like 45 after Justice League. So
yeah, I know. But I mean, Matt Reeves I don't think he's kind of an auteur. I feel like Batman has only ever been good when you have a really like strong filmmaker.
Yeah, no, for sure. So
like Chris Nolan, Matt Reeves, and now Matt Reeves. But can I give you my quick pitch for Batman?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. This is an exclusive, so I'll tweet this out and be like exclusive to the podcast, because people have been asking me what I do with Batman, like, period. I'd scrap everything, okay?
Yeah, of course.
I'd tell a different Batman story, one that's a mix of The Raid, and because I feel like that's another thing that hasn't been focused, is you can do some really stylish action with Batman.
Mm-hmm.
It's an emotional action movie. That's what I call it. And there are detective elements in there. The villain is Mr. Freeze. Okay, my Batman would be played by Michael Fassbender if we're fan casting here.
And Mr. Freeze, who are we saying for that?
I went Leo Dio. I went Leo DiCaprio.
Really, Mr. Freeze?
I just feel like that's all about emotion. The Mr. Freeze role is all about like the subtlety of his emotion. He's cold, but he loves his wife. Like, that's a very thing.
Yeah.
And I'd have it start with Martha Wayne. I'm gonna go to rant. Cut me off.
No, dude, come on, go ahead. The floor is yours.
So it starts off with Martha Wayne singing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" to Bruce, and that's important. That's the opening scene. No death. You don't see the damn death. Okay. And then you hear it though. You hear like the pearls fall. You hear all that
over the credits and stuff.
Logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, and I just typed this up the other week. And then after that, you have a montage that establishes everything the audience needs to know timeline wise about where this is. Okay, so you see him train. It's like 5 seconds each. Then you see him like in the classic costume, and there's all these comic panels, like maybe the animated series thing with the lightning. He has a Robin. Robin leaves. Like, Robin punches Batman in the face. Robin leaves. Like, you catch up the audience, right? And then it goes to Bruce Wayne in his office signing paperwork, and he's like sucks at being Bruce Wayne. He's like so focused on being Batman. The movie's all about how he's a horrible Bruce Wayne, but he's really good at being Batman. Because I feel like that's something that hasn't really been done before, just calling him on his bullshit. You kind of make him, Batman always has to walk the fine line of being awe-inspiring and likable and a complete like madman douchebag. I think that's like my perception of Batman. And then you have it, so he's signing paperwork, and then there's like it's July, and there's all of a sudden snowing in Gotham, okay? You get right the fuck into it. He shows up. He's in Wayne Enterprises, okay? And that's where Mr. Freeze would be. And the whole movie takes place on these different floors of Wayne Enterprises. Really small scale, like Dredd almost, right?
Ah.
And it's Bruce teaming up with a new Mr. Freeze who just went through the explosion. He's a little reworked so that like everything he touches freezes. He doesn't have the gun.
Yeah.
But he's trying to get to his wife who's on the top floor. He's trying to get to Nora who's on the top floor. And he's trying to get to a suit that he built for Nora. That's the point of the freeze suit, is because he was trying to cure her, and he was going to like build her this suit so that she could live. You figure out some comic book disease that she has in this movie.
Yeah.
So you put her in the suit. So the whole movie is Bruce trying to get Freeze, who's like on edge and fucking mad right now and like crazy because he wants to get to his wife, and like they were going to throw him out, and he also is just emitting like, cold. And then you just have them climb the tower fighting police officers, fighting different like villains who want something. Like maybe Penguin wants to come in and steal the suit, so there's goons.
Yeah.
But the whole movie, you're like, why the hell is Bruce? And you keep having Dick Grayson on the outside being like, Bruce, why the hell are you helping this guy? And you don't know until the second act turn, and then I'll shut up. This is it. The second act turn, when that paperwork that Bruce was signing at the beginning of the movie, that was shutting down Victor Freeze's experiment. And the audience didn't know. So he's the one who fucked over Mr. Freeze, and it's his fault, and he's responsible for all this. But you don't know that, all because he's a bad Bruce Wayne. And that's what I would do.
No, that's actually a really that's a really insightful way to look at the story, because like you don't see Batman actually, you know, we always talk about like, you know, like the alter ego, the Mild Manner alter ego, and you actually don't see the ramifications of the Mild Manner alter ego in the superhero's life, because you see them as just like using the alter ego as a vehicle for, you know, XYZ for the superhero.
But in this case, it's like that's
the opposite.
His flaw is he's not a good person. He's a good Batman.
Yeah, that's actually really, really interesting, man. I buy a ticket for it for sure. And
Okay.
if you need,
I'm sorry, the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star bit. That's because when he first, because I just want to say fuck you to Zach and do a Martha moment done right. That's what you hear when you first meet Mr. Freeze in this like horror movie-esque design. Because I just wrote this scene. When you first meet Mr. Freeze, he's singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to Nora, and that's like a big like empathy thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry if that was so fucking nerdy.
No,
was that cool?
dude.
Did I sound cool?
No, dude, I fucking loved it, and you sounded like, you know, God had come down and bestowed upon you the thought for the fucking Batman movie. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's just because I've just been thinking about this, and I'm so fucking mad. Mr. Freeze is the perfect Batman villain, I think, to do. I know everyone's like Arnold, but that's one that I'm sick of the same goddamn villains over and over in the movies.
Exactly, and like I feel like they get kind of compared to the Joker because the Joker psychologically is a fascinating character, but they don't know that Batman has dealt with some other fucking horrifying villains before the Joker and after the Joker too. So I feel like there's a lot more to explore in Batman, but it's going to take the right screenwriter and the right director, and of course the right actor who actually wants to be in the project to actually you know have it come to fruition.
Yeah, exactly. I hope they get an unknown. I really do. If they're going younger.
Yeah, just not Brandon Routh again.
yeah, it's nothing like that. I'm just saying I hope I get like because Matt Reeves is going to cast a good actor, I think, for sure. But
yeah,
I just want someone who I can look at and be like, oh, well, that's Batman for the next 5 years. You know, that's Batman for like the rest of my fucking, you know, like teenage years and 20s.
No, for sure, man. Do you have any other kind of like, you know, like hit list? Like they have to meet this, you have to get this mark or this mark or this mark for the next, I guess, personification of Batman.
Yeah. You need to do Robin, because Robin is any Robin, because having a Robin gives so much character to Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
You can see the abusive side of Bruce Wayne. You can see the crazy side, but you can also see like the loving parental side of Bruce Wayne.
For sure.
And that's, I feel like, just having everyone's so afraid of doing Robin. I mean, Nolan did John Blake, but I mean, I'm talking straight up like I feel like the best approach for what a general, I keep saying the general audience, but that's like who they make these for, not like
for sure.
Fans. I feel like the best approach for a general audience would be to do Damian Wayne and do it like Hit Girl from Kick-Ass.
Oh yeah.
Kick-Ass. If you make Damian Wayne this like super fucked up kid, and then Batman pushes him in the right direction, you know, like makes him not slice people up because he's actually his son. I feel like that's more audience accessible, but I'd love to see like any of them, you know, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Jason Todd. I mean, I made a movie about Jason Todd.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I agree with you there for Damian Wayne. I feel like he's next to Jason Todd, probably the most fascinating Robin, at least in my eyes, because you know, the whole lineage thing plays a huge role in the formation of his character. I mean, I would want probably to do Jason Todd, and then if they had a decent Joker, I would like to see that kind of story like brought to the forefront. Family. But I mean,
they can't do it with Ben, because he like the whole fucking conflict of Under the Red Hood. He's like, Bruce, why didn't you kill the Joker? And then Batman's like, oh, I want to, but I can't cross that line. You can't do that anymore. You have to rework the story completely.
Exactly. You know, while we're on the subject here, dream casting for the Joker. Fuck Joaquin Phoenix, fuck Jared Leto, fuck everybody else. If you were to start fresh and cast a Joker, like a young, menacing Joker, who would you pick?
Young. Okay, who would you pick? I need to hear your pick.
So, have you seen the first Purge?
Yeah, I saw it. It was pretty bad, but I saw it.
Okay. Terrible movie. Absolute abortion. The villain of that movie, the long-haired guy, Rise Wakefield, I think he would be fucking incredible as the Joker.
Wait, dude, was that... Okay, dude, what... I like barely remember that movie. What... Was he the one who was just murking people the whole time.
Who? No, so like, remember when like Ethan Hawke's in the house looking at the security camera and they takes off his mask
no,
and like,
you
looks
mean
at the
the
camera?
Purge.
The Purge, right? I said the
I
Purge.
thought you said the first Purge, but that's the new movie is called The First Purge. So I thought you meant the recent one.
It's called the first. It's called the first Purge.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, my bad, dude.
No,
okay, Purge number 1, the first Purge.
No, I haven't seen Purge number 1, but I know what you're talking about now. The guy, like the main antagonist.
Like he has that menacing fucking shit-eating grin, and he's like maniacal. And I haven't seen him in much else. I know he was in a couple HBO things, and I think he was in talk for True Detective. I think in this most recent season,
so
but
he's probably a quality actor.
Yeah, but I mean, he aesthetically, I think, is probably like the best person I would think to be like a young Joker that's an unknown. For a known, I don't know, man, because like that role is so iconic after what Heath Ledger did, and also even what Jack Nicholson did. So it's hard for me to think about a current actor taking on that throne. But I mean, who would you pick?
Ryan Gosling or Jim Carrey. Those are my 2 picks. And I'm not talking Jim Carrey like, oh, I'm Jim Carrey. Like, I'm not talking Wiggle like the Wiggles Jim Carrey. I'm talking like Eternal Sunshine. Crazy, like current philosophical nothing matters Jim Carrey.
Yeah, for sure.
I just think he has the good like rubbery face for it, and I feel like if they casted him right, people would be like, oh my god, he's gonna ham it up. But then if he gave this really subtle, creepy performance, then it would make it all the better. And Gosling, just because I just would love. I'm obsessed with the idea of a silent Joker, a movie where the Joker, like in Dark Knight Returns, is depressed and he's not like maniacal right now. He's not like, ha ha ha. He's just like chuckles to himself. And he says these like crazy, messed up things. And he doesn't need to be loud and showy. He can just whisper something in a guard's ear, then the guard would like kill themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Gosling's one of the best actors like around right now. He's like so good. But yeah, that's actually a really interesting thing because you think of the Joker as like this huge boisterous presence on screen, but there is a tortured side of him that I feel like is really fleshed out in the comics, but not so much in cinema. That would be pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then go on. Sorry, I was cutting you off. Sorry, but go on.
No, I was gonna say, fuck, I actually forget now. It's fine. Go. Say what you were gonna say. I just lost it.
No, I was gonna say like, if there was a comic of Batman that you think would translate well to the screen that hasn't been done yet, what would you pick?
Any comic. Oof, man.
There are a lot, man.
I got to think about that. What's a good? I mean, Hush is a great pick.
Yes, I was gonna say Hush too.
Hush, Under the Red Hood, but a lot of people know the Jason thing because Arkham Knight did it. Like, it's very, like, a lot of things have done, like, oh, everyone's going to know Jason Todd's the Red Hood, so you'd have to rework it a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Long Haul, I want a straight Netflix series, Long Halloween. And I know Nolan took inspiration from Long Halloween, but I'd love, like, each episode releases on a holiday. And that's a very, very, like you were saying earlier, that's all Detective Batman.
Yeah.
Like, that book's not about the action, like, at all.
Yeah, that's actually, I didn't think about the Netflix series model for that. That'd be pretty sweet.
I think Batman works so well if you did a miniseries on HBO or Netflix or the new DC streaming service, if that turns out to be good.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of hope for that, but
I'm excited for Titans. That trailer was trash, but I think it'll be good. I still have hope that trailer is just horribly edited.
Yeah, like I just hope that Teen Titans gets its day in the sun as like, a really profound animated series and not this bubblegum shit that we see with Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, Titans Go, yeah. I mean, I you know how I feel about Teen Titans Go, but I love the original show too. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I feel everyone who's like, it's ruining the image, and it probably is, but now we have like, fuck Batman, Robin, and Titans, so, the image will go dark.
All right, man. Well, I mean, I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's been, about an hour. So, I mean, any other closing thoughts for the whole Batman ethos as well while on the subject here?
Man, I think that, okay, let me recollect my thoughts.
Go ahead, man.
I think that in order to make a good Batman movie, to make a solid Batman movie, to get an audience to care about Batman again, you need 3 things. You need an auteur filmmaker. You need an actor who wants to play him for multiple movies and understands the way that these contracts work and that is like ready to completely transform into the role. And you need a movie about Batman.
Yeah.
No movie that's about the villain. No movie that's about him fighting Superman. No Justice League. It's not there to sell toys. You need a movie that focuses on the detective element, the abused child element, the fact he never grew up. And you need a movie to make it like everyone go, wow, Batman is so goddamn compelling.
Exactly. He's not given his, and that's so weird. It's like he's a character that's known as like one of the most complex and fleshed out characters, but he doesn't get
really.
he doesn't get a lot of credit for like the psychological aspect of Batman and like his formative development, which I mean it has to be in the next movie. It has to be. They have to nail the neo-noir aspect of it, and like you said, an ultra filmmaker would be fantastic for that. They have to really dissect the psychology of Batman, like you said in Batman Forever, which shit movie, but had the right idea to go down that avenue of investigating his psychology. And then they also, I mean, they have to bring in Robin. Like those would be my like three for sure. So 2 out of 3, we definitely agree for the must haves for the next
I'm
Batman
all for
story.
Robin. You can add Robin to my list too,
All right,
man.
sweet.
Robin.
So we agree. So all right, so we're just sucking each other off here, man.
And I'm sure that thousands upon thousands, maybe even millions of people also agree with us. But we have to realize that those movies are made for the sole reason, like the sole purpose of making money. So,
yeah, man. Well, hopefully, I mean, obviously, I'm just an up and coming YouTuber. You are, on the cusp of huge growth. But maybe someone in any of our audiences can link this thing to Zack Snyder or one of the DC producers, and maybe they'll listen to us.
Yeah, tweet it out, man. Tweet it out. And I'll definitely post this on Twitter. Don't worry. I'll share it everywhere. This was fun.
Solid, man, for sure. But thanks a lot for coming on, man. You were really conversationalist, and we agreed on pretty much everything. And we're both professed nerds, so I'd love to have you on sometime soon, man.
Yeah, sure, man. Just ask me back anytime.
For sure, man. Yeah, you got my digits and my email address. So.
Okay, cool, man.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. And this has been Alex. I'll link his stuff below. He is the head honcho of HiTop Films on YouTube. So definitely give him a follow and some love. So thanks a lot, Alex. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.